Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Please hit the subscribe button and give it this episode a thumbs up. The reality claims that he felt too deeply for Robyn, which is why his other multiple marriages collapsed. He clarified that he is happy to remain monogamous with his last wife, because his feelings for her have not changed. Robyn, on the other hand, thought differently. This is not how she wanted things to go, she admitted, when she sat down with Krishnan. The reality star continued, I was going to be a part of a big picture, a big family. Robyn revealed that, if the chance presents itself, she will be willing to accept more sister wives, but she made it clear that Kody is enough for her right now. Mary, however, disclosed that she was not interested in dating and was unmarried at the moment. She did acknowledge, though, that she still supports polygamy, adding that it only succeeds when all parties are equally dedicated. Similar thoughts were expressed by Janelle, who said she was still open to the idea, but didn't see it occurring for her anytime soon. Kristen had already expressed her position on the issue, even though she didn't specifically address it in the finale after meeting David Woolley. Kristen stated in a 2023 interview with US Weekly that she intended to concentrate their relationship without ever having to cope with the hassles of a plural marriage. Kody Brown is criticized David Woolley for being toxic. During the tell-all, Christine's husband David Woolley shared his wife's opinions. The owner of the building company said that Kody was a very cunning husband to his wives, not just Christine. Woolley disproved the father of the Brown family's claim that polygamy is ineffective, pointing out that Kody really benefited from the conflict and turmoil amongst his ex-wives, having witnessed his own sisters engage in polygamy. Woolley merely disagrees with their lifestyle. They are ruined by the guys. He asserted that polygamists malice their women against one another because they desire to be battled for saying they absolutely ruined them. He claimed that Kody's lack of responsibility and selfishness were the main causes of the dissolution of the Brown family. However, Kody persisted in attributing his actions to his ex-wives. Reality star asserted toward the end of the finale that his ex-wives had changed since they left him. As he put it, he wouldn't have started out mean, but when they left they got mean. Kody clarified that he was merely reacting to insults directed at him by his ex-partners, and that he truly wanted to be happy and move on. Kody Brown, a former pelag, seems to be living a simpler lifestyle these days. The patriarch of Sister Wives has stated that he has no desire to be married again, and Robyn Brown, his surviving wife, seems to be supporting and standing by him in this decision. Given the damage Robyn has caused to the entire family, it is fortunate that she is supporting him. Although Kody is also not guilt-free, it would be awful if she opted to leave Robyn as well, given that the three divorces are somehow related. Will Robyn Brown and Kody Brown from Sister Wives resume polygamy? Does Kody intend to some polygamy with Robyn now that Mary Brown, Janelle Brown, and Christine Brown Woolley have all left him? The answer is definitely no. At the end of the TLC's tell-all, he told Sakanyasuki Krishnan, hell no. And since we've already failed, I'll tell you I would never again attempt polymarriage. In reality, he had earlier stated that he felt slapped by polygamy. Addition to being done, Kody declared no longer interested in plural marriage. I don't want the hassle, thus I didn't want to pursue another woman. That's not where I am. Nevertheless, Kody revealed that he had no regrets about his previous way of life, even in light of the tragic conclusion. He said, I'm happy we had the experience. I'm happy that I have this relationship, and that I have all those kids. Robyn claimed that things didn't go quite as she had hoped. She said, I had a different plan for my life. I was going to be a part of a large family and living a multiple marriage. I've been deprived of that. She nevertheless did that Kody is sufficient for her thought. She will remain with him, and Thatch will keep defending his morals. Ultimately, Robyn would not exchange her husband for anything. A candid discussion revealed the real emotional currents influenced the disintegration of a formerly cohesive household that was fascinated by shared convictions and spiritual beliefs. One voice, which is AAF heart of the family's public story, recently revealed the true cause of his partnership's breakdown. An intense bond with one specific partner, known for his long-standing support of multiple living. This patriarch readily acknowledged that had been overly attached to the newest member of their unusual group. He acknowledged that the balance polygamy to flourish was suited by that strong emotional connection. He now considers himself completely committed to a single love relationship and is no longer looking for other partners because of the profound shift in the dynamic between the. In contrast to the chaotic network previously oversaw, he finds this monogamous relationship to be fulfilling and long-lasting. However, in a vulnerable turn of events, the woman at the heart of this emotional gravity presented an opposing perspective. In an emotional interview, she disclosed that she never imagined the life they currently lead, a single partnership instead of a family. She had envisioned becoming a part of something bigger, a community of busy hearts, sisterhood and shared obligations. Admitted that for the time being at least, her spouse meets her romantic and emotional requirements, but she is still open to the possibility of growing their circle once again. Nevertheless, there was a hint of sorrow in her voice, as though she were lamenting a dream that was never fulfilled. Others who were formerly part of that circle have since followed very different routes. One ex-partner, who is renowned for her fortitude and introspection, now prefers to be alone. She stated unequivocally that she is not looking for romantic relationships. She still adheres to the fundamental idea that spiritual marital structure, even though she is no longer involved in either. Remarks served as a kind but stern reminder that such a lifestyle is on life, when each member contributes ethically and completely to the cause. She sees that without that balance, the whole thing falls apart. These views were shared by another ex-wife who is well known for her independence and practicality. Although she hasn't ruled out going back to a shared marriage, she has stated that she doesn't see any practical way to do so any time soon. The logistics of entering such a commitment appear onerous, and the emotional scars from her prior experience are still too fresh. Then there's the woman whose departure rocked the family's foundation, regaining her voice, her peace, and her vision of a future based on respect for own, another, and unwavering devotion. Whereth main reasons she decided to leave the relationship. She hasn't held back while expressing her goals. She previously told a national media that she was convinced she never wanted to go back to the world of shared love and divided attention after discovering a new partner who prioritized her. She saw as a celebration of her present rather than a rejection of her pastoring. A recent televised conversation, her present partner, a man whose own beliefs were formed by witnessing similar relationships develop among relatives, voiced his concerns. He spoke bluntly and steadily, his eyes honed by life experience. He publicly criticized his wife's ex-husband's actions, charging him of controlling not one but all of his past relationships. He objected articulately to the claim that plural unions are intrinsically is frequently repeated by the patriarch of the family. Please disagree, new husband pleaded. He maintained that the leadership style, not the structure, was the cause of its failure. He believed that the man who had referred to himself as a spiritual head did not provide fair or consistent guidance. Rather, he flourished on conflict, employing emotional detachment and partiality as means of dominance. He did not give his partners the same amount of help. He established a setting where women had to vive for love, wickering counter to the ideals they were supposed to preserve. This pattern, according to the new partner, is poisonous and motivated more by self-interest than by spiritual connection. He had a first-hand understanding of how such arrangements may fall apart from his own childhood. He's seen how the males frequently cause dissension instead of fostering and supporting their families, and he had sisters who had come from similar settings. He maintained that these molestas hired to be respected and given top priority to stay in power. They pit their wives against one another. He asserted that this was precisely what had occurred in the well-known family, which was now irreparably broken. The man was the target of these remarks. Evaded questions. When asked, he blamed others, accusing his prior partners of being resentful and changing. His change in temperament was brought on by their behavior changing after they left the family unit. He claimed that he had not started out as aloof or uncaring person that others now portray him as. Rather, he suggested thought his ex-wives had been combative, and that he had only retaliated. He believed that their responses, not his emotional neglect or lack of leadership, were these years of uneven effort, contempt and blatant displays of partiality were conveniently ignored in this story. The emotional toll that such acts imposed on they ladies who used to share his lifeways also disregarded the women's decision to leave was not an act of rebellion. Rather, it was the culmination of years of neglect and disillusionment. It wasn't inevitable that their uncelebrated family would fail due to the inherent flaws with plural marriage. It did not occur lacking the equity, emotional stability, and common goal necessary for success. It collapsed. It takes more than just words and rituals to create a spiritually oriented family. Each member must be equally invested, balanced, and trustworthy. The others cannot endure when one person is obviously given priority, and when one connection uses up all of the emotional energy. The days of communal dinner, shared chores, and the appearance of perpetual concord are long gone. The man who was formerly in charge of a big unusual household has now arrived at a turning point in his life. The man who's to enjoy the difficulties and benefits of having several wives has now turned away from that way of life after being immersed in the intricacies of relationships. He now finds comfort in simplicity, establishing boundaries where previously there were gaps. The one woman who once represented hopeful growth of their multipunion, is the only one still by his side. She has also witnessed the by thread of fantasies of a vast family tapestry, even as those around her started to doubt the concept. Her dedication to it remained unwavering. But know that the dust has cleared and there is more silence than before. She is bound to a single man rather than a busiest sisterhood. In an open analysis of his previous decisions, the man told a prominent interviewer that he was not looking for new companions. His voice lacked any trace of trepidation. Hadn't hold back for him. The polygamous chapter is over and buried. He emphasized resolutely that the experience of multiple marriages had left several wounds. He stated plainly it failed, and he made it clear that he would not try to undo or relive that failure. His words were, "I won't go down that road again. It's not where my heart is no more." In earlier discussions he had described his plural past as painful, comparing the end to a shock that left them reeling. This development is significant for someone who once advocated for the principles of spiritual oneness and shared life from optimism to foresight from expansion to containment. His tone has changed. He does not, however, give up the life he formerly lived. Despite his remorse and resignation, still treasures the connections, Hamid, particularly the ones that gave him several children, he holds in such high regard. Even when the results did not meet expectations, there is appreciation for the experiences. His former spouse, who came into the family with the expectation of spending the rest of his life with sister wives and several children, is now by his side alone. Despite being influenced by Lozer viewpoint, is devoted. She freely that her current life does not match the life she had imagined. She admitted, "I had imagined a much larger house." During her own interview, with a hint of resignation and melancholy, her voice faltered. "I thought I would be one of many sharing joys and responsibilities, building a legacy with others who held the same beliefs. That fantasy has long since faded." She used taunter, the family with hope and faith, in plural unity tenants, but now she must navigate a completely different reality. A network of broken connections has been left behind by the other women's departure. Some with resentment and others with silent sadness. She remains steadfast in her commitment, nevertheless, whispering he is enough. She said her remarks were one of acceptance rather than rage. The life she aspired to has no bearing on her dedication. She still stands by him and sees the man she selected. In spite of everything, the environment in which their union began is very different from the one in which it currently exists. Each member of the large family they once attempted to keep together has found a new rhythm outside of the parameters that formerly characterized them. The sister wives, who used to share kitchens, jokes and tearshave, since created their own autonomous and self-defined stories after being the first to accompany him several years ago. Of the women, is now preferring to be alone rather than be searched. She has stated that she is happy to concentration, introspection, and healing rather than entering the dating scene. Despite being softened by experiences, wisdom, she still believes in plural marriage. According to her, such a dynamic can only thrive when there is complete mutual commitment, and learning that lesson can meet a high emotional cost. Similar sentiments have been expressed by an author Exartner. She acknowledges that a future appears far off, but she is still open to the idea of a poly partnership. The past is still to offer fresh starts, and the wounds are still fresh. Then there is the woman who has openly declared her love for a new partner who is very different from the people she was involved with in her old life. She has made it obvious that she no longer sees the need to rethink the plural framework after finding delight again with someone outside of the sphere of shared unions. Her new path, which is on affection and personality looped, is one of personal fulfilled. Her present husband, who is unfamiliar with the responsibilities of multifamily life, has not held back in voicing his concerns. He recently attacked the emotional dynamics of his wife's former marriage in a public appearance. He claimed that her Exartner created strife rather than unity, be manipulating circumstances to keep control. The family's long-standing conflicts are made clearer by this outsider's perspective. He maintained that shortcomings were more to blame for the breakdown of the family than the idea of polygamy. He thinks that the man at the center of it all chose control over empathy, thereby sustaining cycles of rivalry and jealousy. This new spouse offers a critical perspective, having witnessed his own family members go through multiple marriages. He asserted men destroy it. They set up a battlefield and then sit back while the women are left to fight for attention and affection. He claimed that the large household's downfall was caused by a lack of emotional responsibility. When a person has all the authority without taking responsibility, he said it is impossible to create a healthy family structure. He cited the pattern of avoidance and partiality. The man at the center hasn't shown much inclination to take full responsibility. In spite of these scathing criticisms, he has portrayed himself as more of a victim than a cause. In his own reflections, Hesed toward the end of his broadcast interview that his ex-wives changed after they left. His words, "I didn't start out bitter, they became hurtful," Andy reacted. Their scathing remarks and public dissatisfaction in his opinion changed him. He maintains that he only reacted to their charges, protecting him from what he saw as treachery. However, a lot of viewers and XF family members have a different perspective. They observe a pattern in which silent suffering followed emotional neglect. Bare action was taken. Each lady departed due to a chronic breakdown in intimacy and trust, not a single incident. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Get more updates daily. See you soon.